Good morning. I'm here again, Maurice Barratt, and I've got another few minutes with you to challenge you with my Monday morning meditation, 30th of March. Trust you're bright and breezy, ready to start another week for God. Here's my question. Here's a discussion I want to look at this morning. I want to ask the question, why are Christians afraid to die? I've met so many Christians from my personal experience who were not ready to die. Many have been in pitiful positions. I've known people who are crippled with arthritis, nearly 90, and they're hanging on to this life. They don't want to go. When you say, do you want me to pray God will take you? They say, oh, I don't know, which means no. Otherwise, they'd say, yes, please. Why are they afraid to die? They knew they were saved. I knew these people I'm talking about were saved. And they knew it. They were saved by faith. They knew they had eternal life. They knew they would go to God. They knew they wouldn't end up in the lake of fire. So why weren't they prepared to die? Why wouldn't it be a joy to pass over to the other side? Think about it. If we'll get a brand new body with no pain, perfectly healthy, when our mind will absolutely be carefree, if we're going to be happier beyond description, if God's prepared a place for us that's beyond description, let me read what Paul says, 1 Corinthians 1:9, but as it is written, eye has not seen, nor ears heard, neither entered into the heart of men the things which God's prepared for them that love him. It's not entered into our hearts because it's undescribable. If God told us, we couldn't grasp it. It's not even entered into the heart of man. Paul said, I saw things that were unspeakable. So it doesn't seem reasonable, does it, that we'd hang on to this whole life with its problems and its disease and its famine and its wars and its stress. Paul said, for me to live is Christ. But to die is more of Christ. To die is gain. I'd be better off dead. He said, I long to be here with you. I don't want to leave you, but I'd be better off. So it doesn't seem reasonable that Christians are frightened to die. Well, I've thought about it. Here's a couple of reasons that maybe they're frightened and for you to think about. Number one, maybe they love this world and don't want to leave it. See, most Christians are living for this life. Joel Austin, that false teacher, says, have your best life now. That's a talk of a con man. Our best life isn't now. Paul said we enter the kingdom through much tribulation. If you suffer with Christ, you'll reign with him. This life isn't a best life now. When you die, you start your best life. But if you think your best life's now, if all your pleasures and all your plans are in this life, of course you won't want to die for a lesser life if this is your best life. This isn't our best life at all. You know, if Jesus came today, he'd spoil most Christians' plans. I mean, who'd want Jesus to come tomorrow if tonight's your honeymoon, if you've kept yourself celibate for 20, 30 years, now you're getting married? Surely you'd want to consummate it. Don't come tonight, Jesus, give me another night. See, our thinking's in this world. What housewife would want Jesus to come tomorrow if the husband's just finished a £50,000 brand new sparkling kitchen for them? Oh Lord, please let me fry an egg for him first before you come. Who'd want to come if they're getting the first new car? When they've run old cars and now suddenly they're able to buy the first brand new car. Surely they want to drive it before Jesus comes. Just silly examples, but can you understand how much our whole life and pleasure is in this present life and not in the coming kingdom? Seek first the kingdom. That's the 1,000-year reign of Christ. Seek to reign with Christ. Don't seek to reign here. Don't seek success and status and cash here. Seek the next life. So maybe that's why they don't want to die. They've not lived as pilgrims. And number two, maybe they fear because they've got to face Christ at the judgment seat. Christians think when I die I'll go to heaven. That's not true. Every Christian has to stand before the judgment seat of Christ to account for deeds done in the body. And maybe instinctively they know they've not lived as they should. They've not always been obedient, not denied themselves, taken up the cross, followed Christ. They've not stood up to persecution, that they've compromised in many areas, and maybe they instinctively know, and that's why they fear to die. Well, Paul says, Romans 14:10, why do you judge your brother? Why do you set your brother at naught? We'll all stand before the judgment seat of Christ. This is not the great white throne to see if your name's in the book and you've got eternal life. This is to account for how you've lived in this life, to see if you'll reign with Christ. They've overcome will reign with Christ. 2 Corinthians 5:10, we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that everyone may receive the things done in his body, according to what he has done, whether it's good or bad. Well done, good and faithful, you wicked and slothful servant. So there's another reason people are frightened to die and let go of this life. They know they've got to face Christ and they'll have to account for many things. Well, I'll leave you to decide the reasons if you're frightened to die, if you're not ready to go today. The early church certainly weren't afraid to die. I'm not afraid to die. Paul wasn't afraid to die. The martyrs weren't afraid to die. Think about it. You need to be challenged because you're not supposed to be living for this life. You should be glad to leave it. Anyway, time's gone. Have a wonderful week. See you for the next vlog.